This is Gam Chat. My name is Greg.
I'm McCoy.
And I'm D.
We're three Filipino gay guys trying to make sense of anything and everything in the world today. Welcome to our podcast. This is our queries episode. We have received inquiries via social media, email, phone, Anchor,
Pigeon mail.
Pigeon. Whoa, okay. Kind of dated yourself there a little bit, D, don't you think? All right. Or, pigeon or your pager text. All right. So we're answering your questions in this segment called You've Got Queries.
Queries.
We're going to keep on working on that. Eventually, we'll get it right.
Eventually.
It's a work in progress, so just kind of stick around. Yeah.
And this is kind of cute, like queries, like inquiry. Get it? Dun dun dun.
Yeah,
Hella
see?
cute. So McCoy, what's our first question we're going to answer today?
Okay, this came from my sister-in-law, actually, Alfie. Hi, Alfie.
Hi, Alfie.
Hey, Alfie. Hey.
We're kind of ahead of you drinking, so catch up. There you go.
Her question is, what were your first impressions of each other?
Oh my God.
Let me go
This is
first.
so good.
Yes.
Okay, McCoy, go
Okay.
first.
Greg, I don't remember when I first met you. Was it at Sergio's
He's
place?
dropping names.
Our mutual friend, whose initial
Okay.
starts with a G. Sergio Wang. Hi, Sergio. I don't think he listens.
Oh, I remember Sergio.
Yeah. Did I meet you at his place? I don't remember. But I know we went to New York together. I planned this New York trip for everyone. And only the four of us were able to go. Me, our friend Kwan, or officially named Ryan Kwan. You, and...
Or Jedi Kwan.
yeah. And our friend Gerald. That was the first time I spent time with you.
That's true. Yeah.
And you were you and Gerald, you specifically, you were extra. Oh my God. And me and Kwan were very calm. We're very composed.
You were
demure.
I was Manhattan, Brooklyn. You were New Jersey.
No, Greg. You were just busy or something. You were jumping off the wall.
I was.
So I'm this guy, I just don't like this guy. And then you started dating our friend. So that's when I got to know you. I'm he's actually such a nice guy. Very generous of his time. Very generous in general. Actually kind of fun.
I'm going to cut you up.
Yes.
He was very generous of his place, his guest house.
Yes, that too.
And his pool.
Yes, that
so
too.
Let's not, don't cut that off.
It was good times.
Yes, his place. You know what I will never forget? The Moroccan themed dinner you did.
Oh my God, yes.
Oh, that was for Dee's birthday,
Yes.
right?
Yes, that was
cute. During the storm. It was during a storm.
Was it? I don't remember, but that was so
no,
much.
there was no storm.
There was
No,
no
there
storm.
was a
I thought-
storm. I had to cover the
Okay.
whole guest house patio area with tarp.
Guys, he said guest house. Who has guest house? But anyway, so that's when I got to know Greg, and I was oh, he's actually a nice guy. And then we volunteered together with Barangay LA at the time. He was the president and I was the treasurer, and I really got to know him. And yeah, so until now we're friends. So it didn't start well in the beginning, but it's not how you start, it's how you end or something like that. And with D, did you join us for dim sum or something?
No, I was not at a dim sum. I just started showing up at one of our mutual friends' apartment.
Okay, so when I first saw him, I'm who is this mean bitch? He looked mean, and he looks like the kind of guy you don't mess with. And back then,
I still had piercings back then.
yes,
and
and back
taken
then,
out all my piercings.
and back then I thought I was hot shit diva bitch. I was a diva. It's if I don't like you, you're gonna know. But when he started coming around a lot more, I really got to know him, and it's actually a very, very nice guy. But in the beginning, I'm who is this mean bitch? And I don't like him.
I think what's weird is I'm gonna piggyback out of that. If you guys don't know or have not met McCoy yet in person, it was I referred to it as the auntie team. McCoy was a part of our circle of friends. McCoy was a part of our circle of friends, and there was I looked at, I looked at the three of them like almost like the matriarch of our group because like you
Yeah.
will not find one without the other two.
Yes, that's
and
so
it was
true.
like and like sometimes they would kind of just separate from the rest of the group and just the three of them talking. So it was always that very Tita like. The one that you
Yes.
have to like make sure you don't piss them off.
Yeah, McCoy.
So that's
seriously.
like, so
so
that's how
true.
I've always seen like McCoy from the get go that we all hung out. I think you came later on. It was like our other friends two first that I got to know,
Yeah.
and then I think you were. I'm not sure if you were gone, but you just came in a picture and came back, and like they presented you as in it's like it was like a regal thing, like oh, and here's McCoy, and I was like okay, so there's the third part of the auntie team. So I was like okay, that was my
Donya.
thing.
I'm an auntie. I didn't even know.
And then with Greg, like you mentioned, he was dating one of our friends before, and that's when, I was like, okay, so what's the story about this? It's funny because we were all forced to really know each other
Yeah.
within the confines of a studio apartment. And we
Yes,
did
you're
not
right.
live there, but
We were always there.
we were always there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to know each other very well.
Yeah.
I mean, to the point where like someone's gonna take a shit, it's gonna be heard because the bathroom's right there, and we're all sitting in front of either the computer or like in front of the TV, and you kind of just drown out the noise with like your chit chatter or like someone
Yeah.
playing the music on the computer.
Okay.
But I do remember that party at Greg's house
Yes.
that Amato and you guys set up, and I remember giving Amato such a like a shit show because I do not do surprises.
Oh, that's
So I would be like, oh, you're up to something, and I'm gonna make it hell for you to execute that surprise if you don't tell me now. So I was really like, that surprise was
So
like
you
over the
knew?
top. No, but to the point like you guys were up to something and I didn't know what it was, so I gave him shit for it. Like, I'm gonna make it hard for you. Like, oh, you want me to go somewhere? I might not feel like going. So it was, I was doing that.
Wow, that's damn. Dude. It was a Moroccan thing. So we had a surprise party at my house. It was a Moroccan theme, and it was during a rainstorm.
I don't remember the rain.
Not the rainstorm part.
Because I blocked it. I blocked all the rain out, you jerks. I am a
But
god.
see, But when you say Moroccan theme, I think that's underselling it. It was literally like
Yes.
with canopies and drapes
Yeah,
of
it
like
was.
fabrics.
Yeah.
With
I think there was, like,
sitting on
lamps,
the
right?
floor.
Yeah, it was lamps.
Yes,
There was
yes.
pillows.
Oh, it was
It was on the
amazing.
ground. It was on the. We ate on the floor, I believe. Right?
It was on the floor right beside the pool
And the
Yes.
yeah.
And the guest
tennis
house.
court.
and the guest house.
And-
Yeah. I mean, that's when I was like, okay, this bitch is into production. So like when I learned it was like Greg's like everything that Greg know, I'm like, okay, he's into production. This is what this is about. Yeah.
I forgot about that. That was so much fun.
That was fun. That was really fun. And that's when I kind of realized like he's very generous with his time and he's very creative and all that.
Oh my god! Did you really think I was a jerk? You jerk!
Well, in the beginning, I'm like, you need to calm the fuck down or something. Stop taking what it is you're taking.
Adderall.
But then, like Dee said, I'm like the auntie team, so of course I'm gonna be
Yeah,
like,
you were like totally.
really?
You're that Tita. My first
Yeah.
impression of McCoy. So I heard of McCoy before I even met him. He was like this myth.
I was notorious.
Yeah. So my first impression of him, how do you say it in one word? Ho.
No, I
How?
was sexually liberated.
Ho. Hey, this is not. It's about your perception of
Okay.
yourself.
Fine.
It was perception of everyone in the community of you, which was ho. Because they would tell me all these stories about this guy named McCoy. And it always has to deal with like him like whoring around. They just like to talk about McCoy in that light. As this very, sorry, in your words, very sexually liberated
Yes.
individual. And I think I met you, I forget exactly when. Was it at Sergio's? It was
Yeah,
at-
I think so.
was that house? It was a house party, right?
I don't remember.
McCoy was always like the I think D something right. He was like the tita. Like he was just kind of like he has like the judgy eye look
Yes,
that he gives you.
yes.
Like Like you did
I
something
did.
wrong, and you're like, I didn't do anything, and you didn't even offer me one bite to eat. So like, screw you.
It's like that look where you're like, when they glance at you 1 second and look away, and it's like, fuck, what did I do wrong?
Yes.
Yeah,
It was that
totally
kind of
right.
look.
You got the Asian F, like a B plus, and then you're like, oh yeah, you know him, bakla. And you're like, jeez. So I mean, and then we went to New York, and yeah, I think I was a little bit extra in New York. I was like, I don't know, it was so much fun. And you were you're like the reserve one, Tita, with the
Yes,
handbag.
I'm very reserved. Yes.
Yeah. And then and then D, I think, when did I first meet you? I don't know exactly
It was
when.
at the apartment already.
Yeah, no. So we had there was a large group of us, of like with other people, right? And McCoy, you were like on one end, and I wasn't very active in like hanging out too much because I was studying a lot. I was in schools, when I did, I'd party with you guys. And for some reason, I don't think you were always there, McCoy, or you're always doing your own thing. And then when
I was always present, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't pay any attention to you. Sorry.
Okay. It was mutual.
It was. And then when that group kind of like everyone started doing their own thing, I believe that's when I started, and then I was dating my ex, and then that's when I started D and Amato started hanging out, right? And I started was kind of like I was always on the outside of things, and then from my first impression of D was, I think you were like, honestly, you were like one of the newbies.
I was the last one to jump in.
Like he was young,
Yeah.
and you're like just coming out, but you're always very cool. Like there was no drama with you like the other queens, McCoy. And then I think when was it exactly that I realized that you're a photographer, or that you wanted to go into photography? I forget when exactly that was. And then I think we had conversations about doing a project
That came later, right?
or something. And that's how... No, I think... But early on, I heard that you were doing photography. But it came later on, though. Because I think you're already at Manhattan Beach.
Greg, you can't hear D? Oh, he can't hear you, D. Yeah. Maybe D, try going out and go. Yeah.
Wait, let me quickly talk shit about him since he's gone. So he was so annoying. Like he was like the baby of the group, and I was like, who's this toddler with a wagon? Oh my gosh.
No, but D was so right out. Yeah, the Tita team, that was us.
You.
Oh. And like, if I didn't like you, you will know.
Yeah, you were so judgy. So
was.
judgy.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
I'm glad
deny
you're
that.
starting to work on it, but better late than never.
There you go.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, I was stopping McCoy for talking shit about you. I was like, oh my gosh, McCoy.
Wait. No, okay.
Shark.
No, I think where we actually started interacting directly is if you were in the scene, message us, because you would have known about this. As when we started throwing parties, the very first one was dirty.
Oh my god, at my house.
Because I remember, I remember Greg was like,
right.
"Oh yeah, we're gonna do this. Hey D, why don't you climb a fucking 20-foot ladder and
Oh my
hang
god,
us up?"
yes.
And I'm like, "Oh, okay, so that's what I."
That is true. Okay, so back in the day, I used to have massive parties at my house. It was huge, and then I remember, that's right, D, you were always there actually helping. Like doing work versus like chit chatting, like the Tita on this other line, McCoy, Tita McCoy.
No, versus the person with a fan and then closing it and just pointing. Yeah, I'll take that there, kind of thing.
Yeah,
I was the one who would actually like pick up the ladder, climb up the ladder, and that's when I figured I'm like, okay, like this is the one who's gonna tell me what to do when we're working, and that kind of carried on from the years that we worked together.
There were massive parties, and I did a lot of like production design, set design, And D was the only one that you actually climb up the ladder like 2 stories, 3 stories to get to the
I'm
roof
fucking
without any
and
complaints.
I'm scared of heights.
You were like just doing like
Well, I'm scared
and
of
I'm
heights.
just like,
yeah.
D, why are you shaking? Like I don't understand. Just go higher. Just go one more step. One more step. That's right. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Those were good times. Parties, good times.
Yeah, they were fun. They were fun.
So yeah, my overall impression of D is a lot better than McCoy.
I was such a bitch. I really was.
Still are.
Well, yeah, it depends on with who.
All right. So what's the next question?
So the next question, I'll give you a background. It's from Earl of 35 and Up podcast. He moved to the Bay Area a few months ago.
Oh, okay.
So he left everything, his job, his friends, his life, his partner in the Philippines.
Oh wait, so he moved from the Philippines?
Yes. So, moving to a new city, a new country, and having to deal with like a different culture and also a different language. Yes, he speaks English, but coming from the Philippines is still different.
Yeah.
So the question is, if we were in his shoes, how would we handle the situation of moving to like a new country or a new place?
Well, we could all answer, but D, what's your thoughts?
I have never done long distance, so I don't think I have a good answer for this. I don't think I can handle it myself.
Mm-hmm.
So like kudos to him for being able to like maintain it. As you guys know, Amaro and I have never been apart. If he needs to go to the toilet, I probably need to be there to give him like paper towel, like toilet paper or something. That's how.
Wait,
like, you know.
I'm sorry. I must have blocked something out right now. Did you? I just heard you giving your husband toilet paper. Like what?
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah. From when, if you guys know, if you invite me, Amaro's there. If
Yeah.
you invite Amaro, I'm there.
That's true.
That's what we're like. We've been called like the Baldies or Amadi.
Yes.
It's because like we are never separated. So kudos to him because I cannot do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so
How about
like,
you, Greg?
so okay. Hey Earl, how you doing? Well, okay, here's what I would think. Okay, so if I were to move, I mean, one of the best places to land in the U.S. if you're doing such a big move, honestly, one of the best places to land is actually in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I agree.
I would think also. So if I was Earl, if there's a language issue, I would address that. I'll probably put it like at a 3-month mark, either to learn a new language or and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
So I'd enroll myself in online classes, Rosetta Stone. It worked for me. I know Tagalog fluently, clearly.
Okay.
Maybe not. Don't use Rosetta Stone.
His Rosetta Stone is Tita or Auntie.
Tita McCoy is the Rosetta Stone. Don't do that one. Get like, first of all, so I would do, Earl, is I would learn the language if that's a barrier, right? Second barrier, if I was away from my partner, I would definitely make time a couple times a week or every night to Zoom with him or do FaceTime with my partner. And then I think being Filipino in the Bay Area is the best place to be. One is I'd also identify restaurants that I'm familiar with the food, because that way help me feel at home.
Yeah.
Because when you're away from family and you're home, it's great to find that one restaurant that makes you comfort food, right? So your comfort.
And it's all over the Bay Area.
Yeah, and that's the
It
best
has to be.
part. Next, I would probably reach out to other Filipinos. I think the Filipinos up in the Bay are pretty dope, and just connect to them, hang out with them. And then also there's a lot of titas in the Bay, and there's a lot of really dope titas in the Bay, I think, that will open their home to you and really take you in. And there's a camaraderie in the Bay Area that I think that's very special. And then all that, I would probably say next is, this is a big chapter in your life. And, just remember that this is an amazing part in your life. And, make time to see new sites in the Bay Area. There's so much to do. Rent a car, visit a place that isn't on fire like Napa, but you could go to other places like Santa Cruz or like, was that Moon Beach? There's like a Half Moon Bay. And I'd visit so many places because
yeah.
I think being homesick is very hard. But if you remain active and do a balance of being active as a tourist and learning, meeting people at the same time, remembering your roots are, I think that would be really nice. That's what I would do.
I think out of the three of us, I'm the only one that moved cross country ever. Like I drove,
Yes.
yeah, I drove 6 days from LA to New York. If you don't know, there's a big difference between New York culture and LA culture.
What?
So yeah, it was very jarring. So I didn't have any friends. I mean, I knew a couple of people, but that was about it. So when I started working, that's when I started meeting new people. And I'm such an introvert, so it was really hard for me. I'm not very outgoing. But eventually I settled in and I found some friends that I could go to restaurants with because I like to eat, obviously. So that was like our go-to place. We'll like try new restaurants. So I think because Earl is working,
Oh, Earl got a job. But what?
if you could find some friend,
Hey, Earl.
he is working it. So so if you could find some good people to be friends with at work, that's like a start, a really really good start. And then also in New York, I learned a lot about myself actually, and I did things that I wanted to do, and I learned how to be independent. So that was like the silver lining for me being in New York alone and not knowing a lot of people. So there's good sides to moving to a new place. Yes, it's absolutely scary, but just keep on keeping on and you'll get there eventually.
I think it's also balance. You have to find that balance of like really taking care of yourself and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
taking care of that relationship. I mean, it's long distance. That's going to be a lot of
Oh,
work.
yeah, that.
As long as you
Yeah.
acknowledge that it's a lot of work and then you've accepted that you're ready to do that work, but at the same time, don't forget to have fun. You're at a new place. Even us. Whenever I go on vacation with my husband, I check out places that are local because I know I have not seen anything, and there's a lot in the Bay. So we were planning to go up to the Bay before quarantine, and then Airbnb canceled. So I would love to go back up when it's all back up again.
And then there's also
No,
like
it's actually. Go ahead.
because I'm in a long distance relationship, meaning it's my partner's like 5 hours away. My boo is 5 hours. He's actually in the Bay too. What? I was gonna say this too. On spicing things up, when your partner is in another place far from you, there's actually toys that you could get that's Bluetooth connected. Bluetooth connected. And
yes, to the computer. Wait, I thought you only put money and it vibrates. Do you have to put money, or is it just like a command that you do?
put money and it vibrates? What are you sitting on?
From what I've seen online,
No.
it's like someone tips.
No,
okay, so
not-
you don't have to pay. Okay,
It's from
okay,
those
No,
like
it-
professional web
it's
cameras. I think.
connected.
Yeah.
It's
And Greg is not a
okay.
professional web
Well,
camera.
I don't know. But that's what I'm talking about, dude. That one, but you don't have to get paid to use it. And what it is, it's actually a sex toy that your partner could have control over, or you could have control over via the phone. And it's a new way. I mean, it's 2020. People are having relationships from all over the world now, and I would probably say be open to it. It's something different and new.
Yeah, definitely be down to check it out. But remember, Greg, they have a big time difference. So I don't want Earl to be in a meeting and then like buzzing and like jumping up and down because his partner is like daylight.
I'm
daytime.
not gonna lie.
So you gotta be.
Yeah, that
you
actually
gotta be
does happen.
careful.
But good communication is paramount in all relationships.
Yeah. Yeah, just kind of set it up. It's like check with each other's schedule. Like, hey, what are you up to? Can we do that? I mean, there's no you're okay to be spontaneous, but you don't want him to be sitting like in a presentation and like kind of start bouncing up and down. So discretion.
Sure. I mean, that's why you have to
Yes,
schedule
exactly.
time. Like when you guys are in chat and whatever. And we'll put the information in the podcast notes for if you're interested in that.
Okay. Do you have like a what do you call it? Affiliate link for that product, Greg?
Yes.
It's gonna be like Gamchat podcast for 20%
no comment.
off. Is
Thank
that
you.
what we're
Alright.
doing now?
We hope we answered your question, Earl. And if not, just let us know if you need more guidance on anything.
So question 3 came from Hill Pineda _ on Twitter. Hill is spelled GIL. And he did say this was a personal story. I did give him a chance to say if it was going to be anonymous or not. And he said, no, go ahead. So here you go.
Hey, we have consent. We have consent.
So Hill, so the question is, you catch your partner having video calls, sexual in nature, with your best friend of, let's say, 10 years. Who do you forgive and why? But there's a part B to the question. Neither of them, question mark. So you would forgive neither of them. There's a slang term for this in the Philippines, and it's a combination of video calls and the slang word for masturbation. So it's Vidjakol.
Oh, that's what that was.
Yes,
okay.
Vidjakol.
Trying to understand.
Jakol is slang for masturbation, and I didn't know this until recently. So I said, "Oh, that's so clever." Okay. So anyway, if this happened to you, who do you forgive and why? Or if you don't forgive either of them, let's talk about that too.
This is up to you on how you hold or how you want to pursue your relationship. I am open to anything for anyone else, but I do have my own sets of boundaries that I kind of like stick to, and I am jealous as fuck.
Yeah.
And I do not share. And I've told my husband that if that ever happens, chop chop. Like, no, it's not gonna happen. So that's my thing. But if everyone else is open to open relationships, that's fine. That's fine. But I think you have to have that understanding, and that boundaries has been set from both sides and is accepted.
But
by
here's
both.
my follow-up question to you, D. So let's just say this is never gonna happen. But let's say you catch me and Amado. Who would you forgive, or would you?
Why did we
Would you
have
never
to,
forgive
why
either
did
of
you
us?
have
I
to
mean,
make
like-
that into a visual? Can you just say somebody else, please? Good lord.
I mean, like, I'm probably gonna throw up for the next 10 minutes.
I'm throwing up right now in my mouth.
And once I am done, like, who do I kill first? That's my thing. So, who do I kill first? Obviously,
Yeah, so
the
which
one
is
closest
Amado.
to me. And then that's it. Yes. And then I go to the next one. Honest.
So that's when I
my
move back
answer.
to New York.
Yes. It's like, better run and hide.
Wait, that's your answer?
Yes.
Like murder?
I mean, I will plot it.
Okay, well, no. Here's the thing. Like, I know that has happened to me, but it wasn't video. It was actually in real life.
Oh, oh my God. I'm sorry.
And so, like, I get you, D. Like, that rage, it's like it's totally next level. I don't think I've ever experienced that before.
Yeah.
To that extremity.
Yeah.
But McCoy, what's your thoughts?
Who would I forgive first if I was gonna forgive either of them? I almost want to say the best friend should have known better, but at the same time, I feel like I have more investment with the best friend in terms of time and emotion and connection than the partner or the boyfriend. So I think I'd forgive the best friend first, but they will pay for this, sin for a long time. But I'll forgive them, but I'll make them pay for it.
I think I'm going to counter that because it has to be accountability. They're it's kind of like if it was a hetero relationship.
Yeah.
And then the guy cheats on the wife with another girl. The guy is responsible for it as well. I don't want to take it away from them. But if to quote my favorite podcast, The Read, maybe you're not there, but break up with him. They made a shirt. It says break up with him, and that's my thing. By the way, that's back ordered, and I already ordered mine.
Did you really?
Yeah, break up with him. That's it. That's their shirt.
I'm sure Motto loves to look at that.
Okay. If I'm really being honest, like 100% honest, I wouldn't forgive either of them because I'm a grudge holder. I love my grudges.
Yeah.
So no, I would not forgive either one of them for a very long time.
You cherish that motherfucker. Like, you hold
Oh
on
yeah,
to
I
it.
use that grudge as like my energy to move forward and to be better.
Yeah.
here's what I would say to Gil. What he's experiencing now is real.
Yeah.
His feelings and emotions and rage and all those feelings are absolutely real. And
Reasonable.
I think so. So I've been in a similar situation before, and here's my thing: like, who do you forgive and why? Sometimes like you don't have to forgive at this moment right now. That forgiveness can come a year, tomorrow, 5 years, 10 years from now. And sometimes people in your life that will come into your life, sometimes that's only supposed to happen for that moment. Like you have a best friend right now that you had from 10 years. Maybe it's time to move on from that best friend. And maybe down the line you could be best friends again, but maybe it's not right now. I wouldn't necessarily just say I don't know if the question is to forgive. I mean, you also have to know what your boundaries are. Like, what are you willing to tolerate? Like, if this is okay with you, and it might be okay with you, and you could deal with it, or if it honestly isn't okay with you at this moment, then, maybe down the line you could deal with it. But never think that you're stuck having to be best friends with this friend who you feel betrayed you, or that you have to be in this relationship any longer.
Yeah.
But you really have to sit with yourself and know yourself and what you want, nobody else. Here's the hard part about this. Like with all breakups, even from breakups from best friends, you have to go through this mourning process, and you're of letting go. And you are having to face something really hard right now. You have to mourn a loss of a love relationship, and you have to mourn the loss of a best friend relationship. Those are two losses, and it hurts. It's gonna be painful, but you will get through this.
Yeah. I mean, we were all joking around, but it depends on your what you've set for yourself, what your capacity is, the boundaries that you've set for not only for yourself but in your relationship with both people. If that is something that does not align with what you've decided on to begin with before jumping in the relationship, in the middle of the relationship, at the end of the relationship, again, things change. Lately I've gotten to that mantra of like nothing is permanent.
Oh yeah.
I think I've mentioned it to you too. I've made some big changes in my life. I've stopped talking to some people because I didn't feel that it was
It was healthy.
positive. Yeah, it wasn't bringing any positive thing to my daily life. So
Yeah.
I had to be conscious of, am I willing to let go of things? Or if I'm not, why am I holding on to it? What is the importance of this relationship?
Yeah. Sometimes it's about like
Yeah.
receiving information in your life when you need to get that information, right?
Yeah.
And him, Gil catching his partner and his best friend do this, maybe that's the information he needs. Now, the question is for Gil is like, what are you going to do with this information?
Yeah.
Are you going to stick around or are you not? And either way you decide it's okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you have to act accordingly to where you are in life at this moment. And if you take any changes, how will that affect you? Because we don't know. They
Yeah,
might be living
that's true.
together, locked in a lease contract. You can just up and leave. You have to keep in mind where you are at that moment. But whatever feelings or action you take, I mean, there's validity to it because that's
Yeah.
how you feel. No one can ever question how you feel,
Yeah, that's true.
that it's wrong or right, because that's how you feel.
When you go through this, sometimes you blame yourself first. You think like, because that's the only thing you could have control or a sense of understanding is like, oh, if I said this, or maybe if I was X, Y, and Z early on, and da 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 da. And these are actions that these two individuals took, and it was for them. It's selfish.
Yeah.
So what actions does Gil want to take that's best for him? Think about what's best for him right now.
Yeah. Choices. There you go.
Yeah, you have choices. Yeah, you have choices. That's a tough one. That's hard. Ooh.
Yeah.
And I remember when it happened to me, I actually brought an axe.
What?
I
Like
did.
an axe for like the Walking Dead kind of zombie apocalypse axe?
Yes. I flipped. I got an axe. I was like, this mama. I did. I'm not gonna die. I did. I didn't use it, and then I might have busted it out. I don't remember, but I was pissed.
He was willing to go left eye and burn the clothes in the tub.
Yeah, I
And the
was.
entire home. And that's me. That's my personality. Again, I don't think anyone can question if I go that route because that's how I am. But also, at the same time, I've done the work and set the boundaries with my other half that saying like, hey, this is my rule. If you're not in the same page as me, then we should not be in this at all. So, but I mean, things happen. That's understandable. But I think it really is knowing what you want for yourself, and that's how you move forward.
Yeah, and then it's like when stuff like this happens, you want to have. Sometimes you just want to know why, and you have to realize that you might not never get a good why answer.
Yeah.
And you have to let go.
Yeah,
of
you have to be
that
okay with
need
it.
To like, why did this happen? Why did my best friend do this? Why did my partner do this? Like, they'll tell you stuff, or they may not tell you stuff, but
or they might tell you, but you're not still satisfied, and that's you just have to. I don't want to say you have to accept that, but you have to be open that that's a possibility.
You're only in control of your own emotions and your own reaction to the situation.
Yeah.
I think. You can't make your best friend or partner do things and all of a sudden, you can make amends, like that. If you do want to make it work with your best friend or your partner, you just have to be aware that it's going to take a lot of work.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry we took this on the lighter end in the beginning, but I really do hope that you find what fits you. Because at the end of the day, you have to make sure that, not in a selfish way, but you have to make sure that you're taking care of yourself first. Because you're the only one who's going to watch out for yourself. So see what works for you. If you want to, if you end the relationships, again, nothing is permanent. Things change, things evolve, things go back a step. Things will always change. So you have to just be ready to accept what that change is, or work on it, or really just let go of things.
Yeah. You just never know. You gotta wait, see what happens in the future. I mean, for example, I always thought McCoy was a hoe before I even met him. So I mean, later on, we're friends now. So it's like we're on a podcast. So you just never know.
But when you got to know me, you just got to know me.
But that actually hasn't changed. I still think you're a hoe. So I don't know.
No. Yeah, he was just now. It's just like, oh, I know that hoe.
Yeah. Yeah, so when people talk about the parties, I'm like, oh yeah, that hoe? Yeah, we homies. I know that hoe.
I know that hoe. That's it. That's what.
Yeah,
that's where you're at now. See.
And I'm also thinking didn't you have friends from back in the day that you're besties and they're not best friends anymore?
Yeah.
Right. And it's normal, and it happens.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's true.
And I think I've communicated that with you guys that it was. I mean, we label things, or there's this word that goes before this label, but a relationship is a relationship. And, whether it be family, friends, significant other, if you feel like they're not really at where you need to be in life, or they're not the people that you need to have where you are at this point, it's okay to let go of things, because sometimes nostalgia, I mean, it's there, it exists. You feel bad, you have good memories, but you might not be at that stage in life where you need to carry in, it doesn't fit with you anymore. So just acknowledge that you're growing, you're changing. It's not just physical, mentally, mental health. You go through stages. So yeah, be ready. Be ready. I mean, oh God, my God, that sounds like we're older than him. Way, way older. But
Well, I mean,
I think we are.
shut. I'm gonna cut that
here's
off.
the thing. It's like, this can happen to anybody. Doesn't matter your age, and
Yeah. Yeah.
this has happened to so many people at various ages in their life, even when they're much older to much younger. But going back to what what you said was about growth. This is growth, and it's painful, but you'll get through this.
Yep.
Because look at me now. I'm on a podcast. I don't know where the other guys are at, but whatever. All right. And that concludes our episode of You've Got Queeries.
Queries.
I know. And so if you have other queries, let us know. You could send us a comment, or if we'll respond, and you could reach us at
On social media, we're on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at GamChat Podcast. And also on Anchor, you can leave us a voice message.
Or you can email your questions, any comments you might have to gamchatpodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget to rate us on Apple Podcast. Give us that 5 stars. Be generous. It's 2020. You can't be stingy. 5 stars. If you don't like it, 5 stars. There's really no other option.
Damn, kind of like sense there. My
you,
gosh.
you can't leave them options. That's the thing. You can't leave them options.
But you have the power and control of your own actions.
Except for this one, 5 stars. I'm sorry.
Except for this one. Yeah, I agree.
Someone's thirsty, huh? On that note, we'll catch you on the next one.